And one thing, my focus for myself, I've been getting a lot of inspiration to really be conscious about the people pleaser. Really hits home with me. And so just really...
Let's stop just for a moment and let's talk about what that is. The desire to please others has some different components, because wanting others to feel good, that's a wonderful thing. There's nothing out of whack with you liking it when others feel good and desiring that they feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you believe that you must be their path of least resistance and that it's your job to get them feeling good, you can't buck the current of where they are, and it almost always backfires. Teach by your example. Don't try to change their conditions. And usually only those who have the wherewithal to change the condition of someone else. Like if you have enough money to bail them out of debt, or if you have the money to buy them a new car when they've wrecked their old car. Only those who try to bail others out really come to the personal knowing that it never works, ever. You know it, don't you? Because unless they change their vibration, their experience isn't going to change. And you changing their condition only teaches them to be more conditional.
And so it's been really good for me just to be conscious about, am I feeling obligated to go here, or is it my highest excitement? Is it something that feels good to me? And really tuning into that and understanding that it's...
Sorting that out takes a little time sometimes. So let's say that you're asking yourself that question. Am I going out of passionate desire, or am I going out of obligation? Well, in either case, passionate desire is going to turn to whatever it's going to turn to, and obligation is going to turn to whatever it turns to. And sometimes it has to turn to it before you know if it was desire or obligation. You follow that? So what's wrong with doing the homework? What's wrong with having the experience? What's wrong with after the fact saying to yourself, Esther just had this identical experience. She hired a really nice person to help her in her Utah house. Really, really nice person. He asked her, and she, at the moment that he asked her, was feeling overwhelmed with things that needed to be tended to because she was getting ready to leave the city and there were lots of loose ends. And as it played out, it matched the overwhelmment that she was feeling. Then later, flying high is inspired to another person, and as that is playing out, it's clear she was high flying when that person came to her, and it's clear that she was low flying when that person came to her. But she didn't really know that until it played out. Isn't it all right for it to play out? Isn't this what you're wanting to learn? Don't you want to learn what your vibrations feel like? Don't you want to know what this emotion means and what this emotion means? Don't you want to know what a high-flying emotion with lots of momentum will yield as opposed to a high-flying emotion with not too much momentum? Don't you like knowing how these universal physics, and it is physics, there's not a shred of evidence to the opposite of any of this anywhere in the universe? Don't you like knowing? In other words, momentum is momentum. Inertia is inertia. These are provable, factual physics that you understand in so many ways. And once you put the vibrational component into the mix, and you understand that your emotions are the way that you know what you've got going on, then never is there a mystery about anything that you see happening to anyone, to a mass consciousness, to a group, to a person, or to yourself. Nothing is ever unknowable again. Don't you like that?
Yeah, and I love, there was a recording that I was listening to where you were talking, Abraham was saying something about that you can control every reaction, you can control by the way you feel your vibrational match, and it felt so invigorating to really grasp that into a palpable knowing of...
Two things happen. When you're in the receiving mode, you don't rendezvous with things that you need to fix. And when you are near the receiving mode, then you're rendezvousing with things that you need to fix, but you're close enough that you know how to get back into alignment so you know what to do. In other words, finding your way. You're molding the clay. If this was the first sculpture that you'd ever make, it would probably be quite a big mess. You never see someone get a big clump of clay and just throw it down and then go, oh, that didn't turn out good. It takes some time for you to mold it into something that matches what you have going on in your mind. We just want you to be aware of what you've got going in your mind. We want you to be thrilled when the idea comes, to recognize the desire. We've started every seminar for many, many years by saying, are you knowing what you are wanting? Because when the desire has come to you, it's so far along the continuum of the thought turning to the thing. By the time you've received it, Where you know that you've got a desire, you've come really far in the continuum of playing it out all the way. By the time you recognize that you would like something or that you want something, ooh, there's already such good momentum. Life gave it to you. You launched those rockets and the vortex is going. There's already enough momentum that you got the idea. Now just don't kill it. Let its natural momentum. You are not the engine that makes it go. Just don't be the brakes that don't let it go. The natural momentum will carry it. The natural momentum will carry it. It's like the cork. Hold it under the water. That's what negative emotion is. Let it go. It will naturally rise back to the surface. There's a natural momentum that is moving toward all things that you desire.
And I got this vision in my dream. It was really fun. Jerry throwing a boomerang. And that's kind of like our vibration. And it was actually really fun. But it was, what you put out, you get back. But it doesn't happen. It's like you don't throw it and it's there. You throw it out and it comes back. It takes a little while. That was really fun to get that in my dream because it felt so good. It felt so good.
Hi. I don't believe in witches, although I know they fly. We were asking about something that, how can people affect you long distance by remote control, I don't know, with witchery, with negative feelings, and you don't even, at the beginning of...
Well, there's a little contradiction in your statement because you said, I don't believe in them, and if that's true, then they can't. But if you believe in them a little, then they can.
No, it's a joke. I don't believe in witches, but I know they fly.
We know you're not speaking literally, although Esther rides around on her broom on occasion. Nothing can affect you that you are not in vibrational sync with.
Okay.
So there's more to this question. We'll let you speak.
Okay. My girlfriend thinks one parent is affecting her with witchery. At the beginning of this...
You know why? Because you innately know that things are supposed to go good for you. She innately knows that well-being does abound. And when something's happening, when she gets out there to a manifestation that isn't pleasing, it feels like someone else is projecting it because you commonly believe you would not do it to yourself. I would not do this to me. It's not something I want, so I'm not doing it to me, therefore somebody else must be. But no one can touch you with anything that you are not a vibrational match to. You could be in a situation where you are seeking solution with another person. And let's say you are defending yourself and they are suing you and you are defending yourself. So there is someone that seems that they are after you in some way for something. If you get fearful, if you're afraid, then you add power. You've met them there. In other words, they have no power with you other than the power that you give to them by choosing this rather than this. It's important to understand sometimes people want to talk about good and evil.
That exists. For example, I know when they're really
there is only a source of goodness that sometimes you can deny. You don't walk into a room and look for a dark switch. You don't flip a switch and expect some darkness to descend on the room. You flip a switch that resists the light, and in the absence of the light you have darkness, but there is no source of evil. But in this physical time-space reality, where we just explained to you several times here today that every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And law of attraction brings those thoughts together. So there are rivers and streams of thoughts that feel wonderful, and there are rivers and streams of thoughts that don't feel so wonderful. And when, for whatever reason, you have lost your connection to well-being and you're focused on unwanted things, you can tap in to some of those rivers or streams, and it feels like there is assertion that does not exist. There is no such thing as assertion in this law of attraction-based universe. No assertion. No one can assert anything. But you can match up and then attract to yourself. And when you attract unwanted things, it makes you think that someone else is asserting it, but it is never true. We have enjoyed this interaction a lot. It's important to realize that you do create your own reality. No one else is creating it for you. And until you accept that you are creating your own reality, if there is even any doubt at all, then you can believe that other people are negatively affecting your experience when that isn't possible. No one can get into your experience other than through your vibrational invitation. And so If things are happening in a way that you don't like, it's good for you to acknowledge, well, what's been going on? What patterns do I have? But we wouldn't look too specifically, because when you look for the bugaboo vibration that has caused a situation that you don't want, all you do is add to it and therefore attract more. So what you want to do, if you're standing in any situation that you don't want, you're wanting to get as general about it as you can. And if there's anything in your life that is going well, you want to get as specific about that as you can, until you have practiced yourself into the mastery of being able to consistently hold yourself in vibrational alignment with who you really are and what you really want.